Shalom, Giants family, and good morning. So, I'm accepting a challenge from one of my subscribers, sisters, very much a sister in our Father, who recommended trying to cook with alternative cooking methods or ways. So, we're going to use the good old fashioned tea light candles. I have some that's in a bag. I put it into this muffin tin. It's an old muffin tin. And so we're going to just put the tea lights in here, light them, and I'm going to attempt to fry some bacon and scramble an egg. And let's see if I can actually get it done with tea lights and a cast iron skillet. So I have my cast iron skillet here. I'm going to go ahead and light these. Now this is a first for me, honestly, because I just think I like to, if I'm going to do something, I like to go ahead and do it and get it done quickly. And this doesn't seem like a process that would go all that quick. So, having said that, I'm going to, oh, it's burning my hand. So, having said that, I'm going to give it a try just for the sake of trying it. And I'm going to bring you along with me as I do it. I have been battling with trying to get a cold or flu or get over a cold and flu, sinus, whatever this is, but it's starting to kind of work my nerves a little bit. So let me turn this light down so that you can see that they are lit. I don't know if that made any difference. Let's get a little closer so you can see that the candles are lit. Okay. But I need my light in order to see. All right. So I'm going to put my, I don't know, I think that's going to be a little too low and maybe even snuff that fire out. So let me figure out a way to elevate that pan. Elevate that pan just a little bit. Okay, so I have this cast iron trivet. It's just a grade, basically. And if you take a pot out of the oven, you can set this set it on this trivet, okay? To keep from burning your countertop. I'm using it just to give a little bit of a lift so that my pan isn't sitting directly onto the, let me see, take you down where you can actually see. Okay, I'm using it just to give it a little bit of airway, okay? So that the air can flow over, through and above. And this is a pretty good shot. You get to see what I'm attempting to do here. Just enough elevation to keep the airflow, but enough to keep the flames going and maybe even getting this pan warm. So, with having said that, I'm going to just let this sit. Like I said, let it sit and hopefully warm up enough to do a couple strips of bacon and maybe an egg. These are just alternative ways. And like I said, this is my very first time trying this. So if it works out, fantastic. I can add this to my wisdom or my knowledge of doing alternative ways of cooking and doing things. So we're going to see what happens. I'm going to sign off for a moment just to give this skillet enough time to heat up. It is getting a little bit warm. I have to admit it is getting warm. It's not hot, but it is definitely acquiring some heat. Okay, so once it gets warm enough that I think that we can actually do something with this, I'll be back to show my family what we're doing. Okay, I thought I'd come back and give a little bit of an update. It is warm enough that I can't leave my hand just sitting here. So, okay, let's go ahead and add a few strips of bacon and see what happens. I mean, it did get hot. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. But we're going to see what happens with our beef bacon here, okay? See how well we can use tea lights to cook in an SHTF. Okay, so we're going to let that sit and I'll come back. Family, this is not going to be a quick process. This is extremely slow. So this has been in for about maybe 5 minutes. And as you can see, it is breaking up some of the oils in the meat, but it has not even begun to fry. So, I'm going to try and see this process through, at least through these 3 strips of bacon. But if you have a family to feed, don't rely on primitive methods like tea light candles to prepare meals for your family. Because if you have hungry little ones, they're not going to understand that it's going to take an hour for mommy to get 2 strips of bacon for you to eat. Go ahead while we have the opportunity to put in alternative methods of cooking. Do it now. And here's the thing. I had someone else show up in the comments on the last video and made the suggestion. It was a beautiful idea, beautiful suggestion that, I have a pit or barbecue pit or fire pit or grate or something with charcoal, I can cook in my backyard. And that's a wonderful, great solution, great idea. But here's the thing, if we're really in an SHTF and you're trying not to draw attention to you by way of smoke and fumes that says, oh, look over here, there may be resources over here. Do you really want to put a barbecue pit or a fire pit out with wonderful aromas emanating from it? Because it's going to draw unwanted attention. So we have to think smart and strategic. If it's in an everyday situation and you just have your powwow for a couple hours, fine, fire up your barbecue pit, kick out your grill or whatever you do. But in a scenario where the world has lost its better mind, which we're almost there, and you don't want to draw any attention to yourself, alternative ways of cooking where you can retreat into the internal walls of your home, maybe even in an internal bathroom, such as a powder room or a half bath with a sink and toilet. Now, I'm not asking or saying cook in the bathroom, but those places are usually internal rooms where you can shield some of the smells and the aroma away from the outside world. Just a little food for thought. So we're going to wait on this to continue doing whatever it is doing, and I'll come back. All right, family. In an effort to put some of my brain cells to work, I incorporated some foil under the bottom of my, let me see if I can show you here, under the bottom of my muffin tin. And this was hot, so I burned my hand to show this to my family. But I incorporated this foil. Why did I do this? Because the Girl Scout in me says, if you can contain the heat, maybe it won't, you can kind of reinforce that heat or direct that heat into the areas that you want it in. So I encased I don't even know the right term for this, but I enclose, thank you, Father. I enclose my tea lights into my muffin pan under a shield of foil. The foil actually comes up to the bottom, and that grate is still on here that lifts it off the fire. So there's air circulating, because as you see, it's air here and air here, but it's also containing the heat. So this may be a little better way of containing the heat or shielding the heat where it's directly under my pan. But we're going to continue to let this go because I'm determined now to see this through to the end. I'll be back. And we are now about maybe 15 minutes into this this process. Okay, I haven't had to flip it. It is cooking. I have to admit, it is cooking. But again, this is not a quick process. We're 20 minutes in. The same 3 strips are in the same spot, but it is actually doing something to it, okay? This did help focus that heat a little bit better. I'm going to need to soon put new tea lights under here because, as you can see, they're burned out. So I'm going to go ahead and add a few more and see what happens. Still haven't turned it. 30 minutes in. But it is, it is doing something. It is cooking. It's just, this is a slow drying process. I didn't put any oil in the bottom, so you can see. Let me move one. You can see that there is moisture in the bottom, giving an indication of something going on down here. Well, it's a little something, but whatever, family. We're gonna keep going. But please don't. If this was something you heard about and you thought, oh, this would be my way of doing it, and you haven't tested or tried this, don't wait till something happens and this be your answer, because you will be highly disappointed. This is not happening as quickly as, I mean, I knew it wouldn't be, but man, 30 minutes in, you would think I would at least been able to flip this by now, and this is still on side one. So we'll keep watching. All right, family, 40 minutes in, and I finally flipped the durum bacon. I'm going to finish this process on my stove, and I'm going to explain to you why. Because I've gone through, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 tea lights so far, 10. And it has barely done anything. So I'm wasting my resources at this point. And if it's a waste of resources, even if it brings you to a benefit on another level, it's still a waste. It's not a benefit on any level if you're wasting your resources. So if all you have are tea lights to cook, you don't have a way to cook. Sorry to say so. You just do not. This is not a very fast process. And like I said, I am literally wasting my resources here. Here's one little tea light that the little wick bent over to the side, and so it's floating around in the bottom. Oops, and I just spilled it all over my countertop. There are others that are still trying to burn, but this is, like I said, this is not the process for Pam, okay? So I'm gonna end this, try and salvage all of my little wax and put it in a candle for another day. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this on my stove. And but it was a good little experiment. It showed me that I won't be using this method for anything other than a tad bit of light, and that's all. I don't even stock, and this is really hot. I can't even touch it. It's just that hot. But this is what, this little grade is not what's cooking for you, okay? I'm gonna leave it there because it's just that hot. But what I'm saying is, I don't stock tea lights. I don't stock them because they don't put out enough light. They don't put out any heat, and these are decorative. This is for that little cutesy stuff, you know. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be into that little cutesy stuff. So I had these because I picked them up at a yard sale. That bag was, I think, $1.25. What did I lose? Not much. But I don't intend to throw away anything. So I stopped this nonsensical experiment, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to something different. But I just wanted to come and show that this is not quick. I've been at this for almost 40 minutes, family. And 3 little strips hasn't cooked. Seriously, if you had a family to feed, they would be famished by the time you got a meal done using this method. So go ahead and look into other alternative ways of cooking. It's to your benefit that you do. For now, I'm going to say shalom, be well, be blessed.